What is up, guys? I'm super excited for today's video. I want to give a huge shout out to Namoki's for sponsoring this giveaway. Not only that, they also hooked me up with a discount code to share with you guys. That's Larry10, so you can save 10% off your entire order at checkout. Some exclusions do apply. I'll leave those linked down in the description. Now, that code does expire on April 20th, so if you're watching this video after that, you're going to want to go ahead and click the link to my other discount code. That's Larry5. That way you can still save yourself some money. Good luck to everyone who gets entered to win. And thanks again to Namoki for sponsoring this video. Alright guys, all you have to do to get entered to win this watch is leave a comment on this video. So I'm going to upload this video on Saturday, April the 6th. 1 week from today, on Saturday, April the 13th, I will do a live stream picking the winner of this watch using a random comment picker. So again, that's going to be Saturday, April 13th at 8 o'clock in the morning. Bring some coffee, we'll talk watches, and we'll pick the winner of this watch together. I am going to require the winner of the giveaway to be present during that live. So I don't really make that decision too easily or anything. I don't really like to exclude anybody from a giveaway just because they can't make it to the live stream. So hopefully, that works with a lot of people's schedules. I planned it on a weekend, so most people shouldn't be at work. And I'm also doing it pretty early in the morning before my kids wake up and start running around the house and stuff like that and making a bunch of noise. So again, hopefully that works with most people's schedules. The reason why I do that though is because I've done giveaways in the past and I've done the live stream and picked the winner, and then the winner of the watch never watched that video and then they never knew they won, and I had to move on to the next person, and it just kind of made it a big hassle, more than what it needed to be. So when the winner is present on the live stream, it takes a lot of the guesswork out, and it's just a lot more fun, honestly. The person gets to win. We all can, see the reaction and stuff like that. So that's why I chose to do that and make that a rule. Hopefully everyone can make it. Again, that's next Saturday, April 13th at 8 a.m. That's enough of that stuff. Let's go ahead and talk about the actual watch. All right, so I went ahead and popped it off the NATO strap real quick, just so we can get some specs on it. So let's go ahead and get a measurement on the case thickness. Try to get it dead center there. So we have a thickness of about 14.75, which seems a little thick, but 14.75 is not really that bad. I actually have Seiko GMT here as well. This is a SPB 385, genuine Seiko with, limited. I got number 74 out of 4,000, so it's a limited edition. But we'll go ahead and grab the case thickness on this. So the case thickness on this, we got about 13.5. Yep, about 13.5 there. So that's really only a difference of about 1.5 millimeters. And the reason that it is a little thicker than the Seiko is purely because of that domed crystal. You can see on that side by side there. So most of that thickness is going to be on that sapphire, so you're not really going to feel it on wrist. Let's go ahead and get into the lug to lug, because this thing wears a treat on the wrist. We have a lug to lug of about 47. Yeah, 47, we'll call that. And then we have a lug spacing of 20. So 19.7, we'll call that 20. So really good case dimensions on this. Like I said, as I have it next to my SPB 385, we'll just do a little side comparison. You can see just how close this MM300 case from Namoki's is to this MM200 case. They got the same kind of feel to them. I really like this scalloped edge on the side of the case here. I'll pop in a shot here. You can see when I bend my wrist that that scalloped edge just kind of folds in and you get some really good range of motion and you don't have any hot spots on that. Paired with the 4 o'clock crown, again, it really wears a treat on the wrist. So here's another side-by-side shot. You can see the lug to lug is very similar as well. Both have drilled lug holes, and I really like that polished and beveled edge. You know, overall, I really think that Namoki's does a really good job with this MM300 case. I'd have to give a slight nod to the actual Seiko case for finishing and stuff like that, but overall, for a $70 case, you really cannot beat the quality and the feel of it. Not only that, but these both have kind of like textured, icy kind of dials to them. Let me go ahead and zoom in here some. So you can see I'm a sucker for a textured dial. Namoki's knocks it out of the park with this one. On the site, I think it's about a $50 dial. Again, that value is just kind of ridiculous, honestly. So this is, you know, a white dial Pepsi GMT build. I'm a sucker for a white dial one. I'll go ahead and put it next to a blue dial Pepsi GMT. Both look good, you know, but that pop of white just kind of accents that blue and red a little bit better than having a blue dial with blue and then more red. Just a subtle difference. One thing else I like to point out is this Pepsi bezel insert on the giveaway build. It's got a more vintage vibe to it. You can see it's got that kind of faded red to it and that more darker navy blue to the bezel. Not only that, but I love these open sixes on the bezel insert. Again, it just has more of a vintage feel compared to something like this. And I really love that. I love the feel of it and everything. So I paired that with a crystal from Namoki's that has a slight dome to it, but you can see that transition is super smooth. And one thing I like about Namoki's is on the website, when I was picking out this bezel insert, I'd never used it before. I've used like several sloping ones from Namoki's, but one thing I love about the website is that when you scroll down a little bit, it will recommend you compatible sapphire crystals for the bezel insert, and that takes out a lot of the guesswork. Ultimately, that's going to save you time, frustration when you're putting it together, and ultimately, it's going to save you money. So, really like the Namoki's website as well. I went with a plain brush chapter ring on the inner rehault because the dial already has you know, minute markers. One thing I will say is that I had to broach this dial. Go ahead and pop in a clip of that as well. So when you're modding with the NH34, a lot of dials don't come with a hole big enough to fit over the cannon pinion, so you do have to modify them. One thing about Namoki's is that they do have dials specifically made for the GMT movement. So if you're looking for this dial specifically for a GMT build, you will have to modify it some. Also, all the Namoki dials come with crown feet for both 3 o'clock crown and 4 o'clock crown positions. So that's nice as well. It'll work with whatever case you end up getting. We'll go ahead and zoom in a little bit further. And we'll go ahead and talk about the crown action. So there's a nice positive pop on this crown. I really want to point that out because I'm going to compare it to this crown on this build. So this one's not a Namoki crown. and you can see there's no pop on that crown. Now, this isn't a cheap crown or anything like that. It actually costs just as much money as the one from Namoki's, but I want to point that out because the reason this one doesn't have a good crown pop is because the crown gaskets are actually too large, and they kind of, keep a little pressure inside the crown tube, and that kind of affects that crown feel. So I really want to point out that Namoki parts, uh, not only do they give you the water resistance, but they're going to give you that positive feedback. When your crown pops like that, it lets you know that it's out all the way. You can easily set the time. And not only that, but when you go to thread it back in, it's nice to have that as well. So it's a subtle detail, but it's one of those things where you have Namoki parts in your hands. You might not be able to see the difference when you're looking at parts on a computer screen, but you can definitely feel the difference when you have the parts in your hand. So I'm going to go ahead and point that out as well. Let's go ahead and look at some of the alignment on this build. Let's go ahead and look at 12 o'clock here. So I'm super happy with how this build came out. The hand stack is perfect. The alignment is perfect. We're going to go ahead and go around to 12 o'clock. We'll go ahead and look at the date change as well. So we're coming up. It's at about 11:57. So definitely within that window. And we're going to go ahead and go all the way up to 12 o'clock. And like I said, I couldn't be more happy with the alignment on this build. It's pretty easy to line up two hands, but sometimes throwing that third one in there with the GMT can be a little tricky. So I'm really happy with how this one turned out. We'll go ahead and go around a little bit further back around. So if you're not familiar with the NH34, one click out here, if you go this way left, you'll be able to do your quick set date. And if you turn it clockwise, it'll jump your GMT hand as well. So that's how you operate your GMT function. We'll go ahead and screw that crown back down. Zoom out just a little bit. So I also want to point out that I used a bidirectional click spring on this build. Now, I think a bidirectional click spring is quintessential for any GMT build or any build that's using a compass bezel or anything like that. You're really going to want bidirectional bezel action for that. Just makes sense. That way you can easily set your time to your GMT hand and track your secondary time zone if you're not going to go ahead and pop out your crown and all that. So that part actually is not from Namoki's, but I have talked to them and they were happy to get that feedback. So they are, looking into that. And that's just another thing about Namoki's that I love. They're always taking feedback from people who use their parts and their customers. And it's taking feedback from the people who use the parts that allow them to constantly improve. Not only that, but their communication with the people who use their parts allow them to plant deep roots in the watch community. And that's why Namoki's continues to be one of the main suppliers of aftermarket parts. It's because they listen to us and that's how they get things right. So I think I've rambled on long enough about how great this build is and about how great Namoki's is. But I've always said that about Namoki's, and I'll continue to say it. The parts really are super quality. Whoever wins this watch is going to be extremely happy. It's a very nice build. Just, for reference sake again, I'll compare it to my genuine Seiko SPB 385 over here. Again, this is a $1,700 watch here, and I think the Namoki's hangs with it really well. I'll do a loom comparison as well. You can see that Namoki loom holds its own even against Seiko, one of the kings of loom. So Namoki parts always coming through with quality. Like I said, you're going to be happy with this build. Good luck to everybody. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.